Thank you for joining me again as I read some more from my book, Revelation. Janette's lip quivered as she spoke, and tears ran down her cheeks. Sandra, I don't want to change. I can't do that. He turned into a hideous beast. Please, you have to do something with your magic so I won't be like him. Sandra took her sister's hand and squeezed it. I'm so sorry, Janette, but I can't stop the change. I can only alter the effects after, but I will be here with you and I'm going to help you. You have to trust me, okay? Sandra knew how hard this was going to be on them and that they had to stay strong and that she had to stay strong for her sister. She explained that she had to leave and run a few errands before her transition. Janette nodded in agreement and hugged her sister. Sandra knew that she had to go back to their home and put a spell on their Uncle Center to erase his memories so that the vampires would not hurt him. Sandra would use a very powerful spell on him to make sure he remembered nothing of this night or any trace of them altogether. So when he was questioned and they explored his mind, they would see nothing. She knew that it had to be this way. They would have to sever all their ties forever. She would check on him from time to time with her visions throughout the rest of his life. She would also need to put a cloaking spell on an amulet so that she could leave the cabin unseen. She went to the cupboard and retrieved the items she would need for her spell and began to speak over the heart-shaped amulet. I will not be seen by evil. I will not be felt by evil. I will not be heard. My scent will be taken away from all evil that shall seek me, for I am cloaked. I am protected from all of those who will harm me. No evil comes closer than my arm. Only those of pure heart can see me, and as I have spoken, so now shall it be. Sandra told her sister to try and get some rest and that she would be back very soon. She told her not to go outside for any reason, and they hugged and cried for a few moments. Sandra returned home and quietly recited a spell over her uncle as he slept. It took everything she had not to cry as she casted the spell. She waved her hands up and down and side to side over him as she said, bless his mind and bless his heart. Let the memories in his heart depart. These memories have run their course. Now let them out with a witch's force. On his psyche it has fed. With these words I deem them dead. With harm to none, so make it be. Let his sweet mind now be free. Sandra returned to the cabin to find Janette in terrible pain. All the color had left her face and eyes have dark circles around them. She was soaked in sweat and had a terrible fever. Sandra wiped her sister's brow with a cool, damp cloth as she prayed over her. Janette looked up and said, what's happening to me? Sandra explained that she was dying, but it was a process that she must go through, for she will die and come back as a vampire. Janette had tears running down her cheek and told her sister she was scared. Sandra squeezed her hand and had a tear of her own running down her face. Sandra used a spell to help her sister get through the pain. Janette asked why they were going to America and wanted to know why they couldn't stay closer to their own home. Sandra explained that they had to go to America to be farther away from the vampire coven, and that they had to search for Akashi. The last time she had heard about it, it was in South America, and that she really needed that book now. Janette asked her why she needed that book. She thought the book was only used for evil. And Sandra explained that it was sought over by evil, but that it could be used for good too. Sandra walked over to the buffet cabinet and began to pull out everything she would need to place a few spells on her sister before she woke as a vampire. Janette yelled out, "I miss Father," and she began to thrash around on the couch. Sandra knelt down on the couch and held her sister's hand and ran her arm up and down her sister's arm to help her stay calmer. And she told her that I also miss Father. She leaned in and kissed her younger sister on the forehead. "Sandra, please kill me, because I will kill you if you don't leave this place and save yourself. I can't take the pain any longer," Janette cried. Sandra stood up and looked down at her sister. "Janette, no, I will not kill you. You will not be like Garrison. Yes, you were bitten, but unlike him, you have me." But Janette cried out, "I won't be able to have a normal life." And Sandra told her, "Yes, you will. My magic will help us both have a normal life. We will find a way." And then she fell asleep. Sandra began to cast a spell, a binding spell on Janette. But she doesn't even know if her magic will work on a vampire. She thought out to herself, "Janette, I know your heart, your family, our family's blood flows through your veins. You are a Shah. You will stay a Shah first and foremost. And when you become a vampire, the vampire's blood will mix with ours and concur it. So there will be no need to kill you. Besides, I'm running out of family and I'm not losing you. I pledge my life to my craft to not let this battle that's coming for us win." Tears streamed down Sandra's cheeks as she watched her sister take her last breath. She kissed her forehead and said goodbye to the sister she'd known and loved for 16 years. She will welcome the birth of her new sister. She will be aware of her new form and abilities. She will love her and always be by her side. She grabbed a piece of paper and wrote down Janette's full name in black ink. She retrieved some black string and a small box with a lid, a white candle and a black candle that represent the dark and the light. She lit the candles and folded the paper with her name on it. She took the string and started to wind it around the paper as she recited out a spell. "I, Sandra, bind thee, Janette Eloise Shaw, from causing harm to all humans. I bind you from exerting control over these people. I bind you from making any plans to harm humans. I call upon the 4 watchtowers that represent the wind, water, and the earth and fire. I call upon the angels, Michael, Gabriel, and Raphael, to assist me in this righteousness, because I will it, so it shall be done." Sandra placed the paper in the box and closed it. She sealed it with wax from the black candle. She let the candles burn out as she carefully put the box in a safe place. Sandra made a special drink for her sister because she would need nourishment. Her sister's lust for blood will be great. All newborns must feed. They are wild and must be tamed. She learned as much as she could about vampires after Sonia's death. Sandra prayed to God to give her the strength that she would need to help her sister. Edinburgh Books. The next morning, when Anthony returned to the bookstore, there was a crowd of people standing around the storefront. Center walked out carrying a broom and shaking his head and talking out loud to himself. Anthony approached him and asked about Janette. Sinner looked at him and sternly and said, "What are you talking about? I don't know a Janette." Sinner answered with a scowl on his face. "Well, I was told that she taught a class here," Anthony continued. "No, you were talking of some other person at some other bookstore, because I do not know a Janette," Sinner replied. Anthony looked deep into his eyes and flashed to his memories, and he realized that he really didn't know her. Odd, he thought to himself. I can smell Janette on him, and an unfamiliar scent as well. But when I look in his soul, I see nothing of them. "I know the woman of whom you speak." Anthony turned to see a young woman holding some books. "I take a class here, but it looks like they won't be having any more classes for a while now, with the bookstore all damaged." "That man there is their uncle. Center is his name. He is drunk most of the time. He doesn't know half the stuff that goes on around here. I mean, he hasn't even said anything about Janette or her sister Sandra." "Sandra?" Anthony asked. "Yes, her sister, Sandra. She's the eldest. She usually opens the store, and Janette comes in later to teach." As the woman answered, Anthony looked into her eyes and flashed through her memories. He could see the sisters, and he asked where the other older gentleman was that worked here too. "Oh, Thomas. He was their father. He passed away last year from cholera. He was a very sweet man," she answered with some sadness. "Oh my, what a shame." Anthony agreed. "Yes, it is. All of this is just awful," as he nodded her head. "Thank you, young lady. You've been a great help," Anthony replied as he turned to leave. Blackwood Manor. Alexander is waiting for Anthony in his study when he arrived. "You look puzzled, Anthony. What did you find out?" Alexander inquired. Anthony sat down in a chair facing Alexander's desk. "Well, there are two of them. Janette has a sister. Their uncle's mind is blank. He had been stripped of all his memories. I think the sister is the reason for that. I believe she is a witch, and she used her spells to keep me from seeing them. I will keep trying to use my magic to find those two. Maybe someone from my order can help me with this. I will be leaving for Blackburn today. I need to talk to David Farina. He is more powerful than I, and might give me the answers that I need to help me with this witch." Anthony handed Janette's glove to Alexander. He shook his fists in the air as he clenched her gloves. "Well, no spell will hide one of our own. When she turns, I will have the visions I need to find her. Shiloh, come here and bring me some dinner." Alexander yelled as he walked out of the study toward the great hall. A mousy young woman with brown hair and glasses came running down the hallway behind him. She was dragging a young girl by the arm. They followed Alexander into the great hall and curtsied before approaching him. "Ah, thank you, my dear. She looks delicious," Alexander said, smiling. The young girl walked over to him and held out her hand for him to feed on her. Many people in London lined up to get a chance to work for the Blackwood family. Yes, it hurt, but they always had lots of food and a warm place to sleep. Alexander had around 100 people working at his property. He needed fresh blood for his coven, and he learned through the years the best way to keep his vampires happy. A happy coven is easier to control. To keep them from turning all of their feeders, that is what they call the blood donors, they use very small knives to cut the skin and let the blood drip into a cup. The donors are given the best food and a nice place to sleep so that they can stay strong and healthy. Alexander is a very stern leader and has very strict rules. Everyone in his coven knew if they did what they were told, then they would live a good life. Alexander has learned to move with the ages. London was a perfect place for his coven. The city is in such poor condition that they will never run out of food, and if they happen to kill a few street urchins, so be it. Thank you for joining me this week to read some of my book, and I hope you'll come back next week.